जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुनातीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय मुशबाद ब्रह्म सबरिचार्य सदस्य सुमति भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की ISKCON founder Jar BBT founder Shri Prabhupada की जय मुशबाद ब्रह्म सबरिचार्य सदस्य सुमति भक्ति सिद्धांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मायपुर नवदीप धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगामाई की यमुनामाई की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी महारानी संवेद गौर भक्त all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvashe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so we'll go to chapter 2, the activities of Maharaj Agni. It's quite a small chapter. First verse. Shri Shuka Uvacha Evam Pitari Sampravritte Tad Anushasane Vartamana Agnidhro Jambudvipokasha Praja Aurasavat Dharma Vekshamanaha Parya Gopayat. Sri Shukdev Goswami continued. After his father, Maharaj Priyavrat, departed to follow the path of spiritual life by undergoing austerities, King Agnidhra completely obeyed his strictly observing the principles of religion. He gave full protection to the inhabitants of Jambudvi as if they were his own begotten sons. Okay, somebody read the book.
Following the instructions of his father Maharaja Priyavrata, Maharaj Agnitra ruled the inhabitants of Jambudvipa according to religious principles. These principles are exactly contrary to the modern principles of faithlessness. As clearly stated here, the king protected the citizens the way a father protects his begotten children. How he ruled the citizens is also described here. Dharma Vekshamana, strictly according to the religious principles. It is the duty of the executive head of the state to see that the citizens strictly follow the religious principles. The Vedic religious principles begins with the Varnashrama Dharma, the duties of the four Varnas and four Ashramas. Dharma refers to the principles given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The first principle of Dharma or religion is to observe the duties of the four orders as enjoined by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to people's qualities and activities, society should be divided into Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, and then again into Brahmacharis, Grasthas, Vanaprasthas, and Sannyasis. These are religious principles, and it is the duty of the head of the state to see that his citizens strictly follow them. He should not merely act officially, he should be like a father who is always a well wisher of his sons. Such a father strictly observes whether his sons are performing their duties, and sometimes he also punishes them. Just to contrary to the principles mentioned here, the presidents and the chief executives in the age of Kali are simply tax collectors who do not care whether religious principles are observed. Indeed, the chief executives of the present day introduces all kinds of sinful activity, especially illicit sex, intoxication, animal killing, and gambling. These sinful activities are now very prominently manifested in India. Although 100 years ago these four principles of sinful life were strictly prohibited in the families of India, they have now been introduced into every Indian family. Therefore, they cannot follow religious principles. In contrast to the principles of the kings of the old, the modern state concerned only with propaganda for levying taxes and is no longer responsible for the spiritual welfare of the citizens. The state is now callous to religious principles. Srimad Bhagavatam predicts that in Kali Yuga the government will be entrusted with Dasyu Dharma, which means the occupational duty of rocks and thieves. Modern heads of the state are rocks and thieves who plunder the citizens instead of giving them protection. Rocks and thieves plunder without regard for law, but in the age of Kali, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, the lawmakers themselves plunder the citizens. The next prediction to be fulfilled, which is already coming to pass, is that Because of the sinful activities of the citizens and the government, rain will become increasingly scarce. Gradually, there will be complete drought and no production of food grains. People will be reduced to eating flesh and seeds, and spirit, many good spiritually inclined people will have to forsake their homes because they will be too harassed by the drought, taxation, and famine. The Krishna conscious movement is the only hope to save the world from such devastation. It is the most scientific and authorized movement for the actual welfare of the whole human society.
People will be reduced to eating flesh and seeds. That just reminded me of the past time. This is Rameshwar Prabhu tells this. So, so somewhere I don't remember the details. So he was in some place and he was walking and he saw the headlines on a newspaper in a newsstand. So there was some newspapers were there. So he just happened to see the headlines. So so the headlines was that there was one famous person in the U.S. that time, and on some occasion, some birthday, son's birthday, whatever. On some occasion, he called all his friends and gave a big feast, and all the people who came very much appreciated. And so after the program, they asked the man, so it was really very tasty. So what was it? So you're laughing. That means you know the answer, huh? So the man said it was human fetuses. So that was the headlines. So then at some other point, maybe the same day or whatever. So Rameshwar Prabhu, he was speaking to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada had gone somewhere and they were returning. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was driving, beside was Srila Prabhupada, Rameshwar Prabhu was sitting behind in the car. And so then Rameshwar Prabhu started telling Srila Prabhupada what he read in the newspaper. And so when Srila Prabhupada heard that, Srila Prabhupada didn't express a lot of surprise or something. Srila Prabhupada's comment was, very soon the human society will come to know that among all types of flesh, the human fetuses is the most tasty. That was Srila Prabhupada's comment. And when Tamakrishna and Rameshwar heard that, they were wonderstruck. Why? Not only just foreseen, how did you know that among all types of flesh, the flesh of the human fetus is most tasty? So they were wonderstruck. How does Srila Prabhupada know everything? So then, so then Ramesh Prabhu asked, so what's the solution to this? So Srila Prabhupada says, everything is there in my books. One simply has to read the books and accept everything as it is. So that is so much. In any case. So here it is being mentioned that Maharaj Agnidra, he ruled according to Tad Anushasane, his Anushasan, Shasan, Anushasan. Prabhupada he tells this comes from the Shish Dhatu, root word Shish. From that there is Shasan, Shishya, Shastra, Shastra. So discipline, order. So he was ruling Maharaj Agnidra, he was ruling Jambudvipa Okasha, he was ruling the Praja. How? Dharma Avekshamana. Dharma Avekshamana. Strictly observing religious principles. That's how he ruled. Hmm. And that's what Shri Prabhupada is emphasizing here. How we rule the citizens also described here, dharma vekshamana, strictly according to religious principles. It is the duty of the executive head of a state to see that the citizens strictly follow religious principles. And that means the principles of Varnashram Dharma. So everyone is properly following the rules and regulations according to the particular Varnas and ashrams. And further down, Prabhupada writes, he should not merely act officially. Very important point. He should not merely act official. करना है तो कुछ करेंगे. Not like that. How? He should be like a father who is always a well-wisher of his sons. Such a father strictly observes whether his sons are performing their duties, and sometimes he also punishes them. Rulers. Dasyuda. Okay, fine. Um, so we're going to begin with a group activity. Okay, note down questions. Note down. First question. आप लोग लिख रहे हैं ना? What are some of the qualifications necessary for a Krishna conscious leader in a spiritual society? So we've already discussed everything. You only have to put them together. Second, discuss some of the challenges in acquiring these qualifications and managing a spiritual society. Third, what could be some solutions to these challenges? And what steps can be taken to have a Krishna conscious management within our society. Krishna conscious management within our society. So you can refer to previous cantos where such discussions have taken place. Such discussions are there in the first canto, fourth canto, predominantly. Okay, fine. So you take about some 10 minutes. I think so. Nimanita Pro also should take part in at least in this group activity. अरे बहुत बड़ा बड़ा ग्रुप बन गया थोड़ा स्पेस रखो ना नहीं तो क्या है वो फिर ग्रुप का मतलब ही नहीं है अरे बोल both of you join some group अरे तीन चार छोड़ो अभी try to give as many shastric references as possible Hare Krishna, do you require more time? Okay, 1 minute more. Okay. So try to conclude now. Otherwise, there's no end to these discussions. Okay, Nan? Okay, so I think if somebody can write down the answers, big board is there. Whoever can write fast and legibly. Okay, fine. Okay, what somebody? Okay, we'll start from. So, which management policy? Okay, so since you have volunteered, you begin. First, read your question. First question. What is the first question? Okay, qualifications for a Krishna conscious leader. Okay, so you tell one qualification and we'll go to the other groups, right? In rotation. Okay, tell one. ब्लू ब्लैक कुछ नहीं है लाल ब्लैक तो ले लो। हाँ ठीक है कोई बात नहीं हाँ देखो हाँ फर्स्ट वन व्हाट यू सेड tolerant as parents. Okay, so how will that help? Mike, हाँ सब कुछ बताया नहीं जाता.
So basically, if you would be tolerant, then there would be less quarrel, and there will be
How?
understanding.
How?
झगड़ा नहीं होगा कुछ सैंडविच रिक्वेस्ट सुन लिया उसने जो
अरे अभी तो सुनना है. हम्म बोलो.
so like how parents are understandable, they understand कि okay he's my child, थोड़ा सुधर जाएगा आगे जाके, अभी ठीक है for the time being. Like that, there will be less quarrels among devotees also when the head person is tolerant. Gradually, things will improve.
Okay, fine, good. Next. Hmm. ये तो जबरदस्ती हो गया ना।
This reference comes from fourth canto, Purusha Maharaj quality, Dharma Bhritam.
Hmm.
Means the person who executes the religious activities. So this is the qualification.
Repeat please.
Dharma Bhritam,
Means what?
the person executing religious activities.
Okay, so the leader should follow the religious principles, principles of dharma.
And he should engage the people also, the citizens.
Okay, and you should. Okay, and engaging citizens also accordingly, and engaging others accordingly.
4 section 4.
ठीक है, next.
Prideless. Prideless.
Prideless. Why? First of all, what is the meaning of pride?
Prideless. Not to be proud.
Proud of what?
Proud of, say, some success in kind of society, like some success. We should be ready to share that success, not that hide it.
Hmm.
Because of us. We,
Hmm.
so that about the sense of accomplishment, or they feel that they also are a part of the team.
Okay, so prideless and sharing the credit. Okay, next.
From the example of Yudhishthira Maharaj, he followed Bhishma Dev,
Hmm.
learned from him
Hmm.
and Lord Krishna.
Hmm.
So this is the quality of a leader, that he not independently rule, but under the guidance of seniors, brahmanas. He ruled the people.
Okay, guidance of brahmanas. Brahmanas and
Vaishnavas, Guru, seniors.
okay, and this okay, guidance of brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and the Supreme Lord. हाँ बोलो.
Uh, the leader should be strict in his own personal sadhana and purity.
Okay, how will that help?
Because people will follow him.
Strict in personal sadhana and purity. Hmm.
People will follow him when he is in exemplary behavior.
Hmm.
Then the inspiration comes to follow him, and then inspiration comes from purity.
Okay, fine. So then others will be inspired to also follow. Next, here. जल्दी बोलो जल्दी.
Prabhuji, you should follow all Brahminical qualifications like Samo, Damo, Saja, truthful, honest,
Okay,
self-control.
try to acquire Brahminical qualifications. How will it help?
It brings Sattva-guna.
Okay, Sattvagun brings the Brahminical qualities or
No,
Brahminical brings
Brahminical qualities will bring Sattva-guna, and by Sattva-guna, he will be like, ulta ho gaya kya?
ठीक है. Okay, both of them support each other. But in any case, then how does it help?
They can take right decisions then. Otherwise, in
Sattva?
passion, Sanjay, Sanjay.
Yes. So Brahminical qualities. Okay, and Sattva. Hmm. Okay, fine. Next.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone in the group should speak. Huh?
Uh,
Share the
he should be
credit.
compassionate, like a. He should be providing protection to all. At the same time, when he sees some miscreant, he should punish also. Like for
Okay, so what's your understanding of protection?
protection of religious principles, and, protection of his varna and ashram.
Hmm. And physical protection.
That includes
So
brahmana.
physical protection required, not required.
Yes, required.
Okay, fine. So give protection. Give protection to the subordinates at all levels. Hmm. You have some reference for that? अरे उनको बोलने थे ना.
Maharaj Devi.
हाँ.
4:16:4.
What is that?
Shastra tat Panditanam.
Hmm.
He will also be a great chastiser to the irreligious and atheistic.
Okay, protection at levels and chastise the miscreants. Okay.
Leaders
Hmm.
leaders should be self-satisfied. He should not be over-ambitious.
For
Material things.
okay. Okay, fine. Chastise miscreants. ठीक है. Hmm. ठीक है, we understand your भाव. हाँ, क्या बोला आपने? Okay, satisfied materially. That means not. Okay, you write satisfied materially, not ambitious for increasing one's own material wants. Ah,
Following the authority of superiors.
I think so. We have taken that point. Where is that? Consulting brahmanas and Vaishnavas guidance, all that. So that's superior. Some other point you have?
Parikshit Maharaj, it was mentioned first canto Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj arranges Bhagavatam sessions,
Eh, बीच में मत बोलो.
arranges spiritual sessions, Bhagavatam sessions for
Ah.
the upliftment of the general masses.
Uh-huh.
So that is the quality of a leader, that he should arrange such.
How do you generalize that? That's Parikshit Maharaj. How do you apply it now?
Similarly, in our leaders, leaders should arrange for the upliftment of the masses, not just giving physical protection to physical body, but their upliftment of Krishna consciousness, or upliftment of soul.
Okay, you can write that. Uplift everyone spiritually. Okay. He's his own team or something.
Detach it from post and position. Prestige. Detach it from post and prestige.
Hey, that is quite material.
Free from sense gratification.
Free from sense of 100%. बहुत बहुत बड़ा qualification है.
No means I found in the sloka 1:12:4 that Yudhishthir Maharaj was free from.
Okay, that's okay for Yudhishthira Maharaj. But how do you apply it in the current scenario?
Uh, you can say that following this NOI first, he has control on the senses so that he can constantly serve on the law.
Okay, fine, we take that. Okay, right, NOI verse 1. Okay, fine. So there could be more, but we are ending this list of qualifications. We go to the next question. Next question. What's the next question?
Consider some of the challenges in acquiring these qualifications and managing a spiritual society. So,
Take challenge.
yeah, we have to follow Vaishnava etiquette in dealing with devotees. Like,
See, the question is, what are the challenges in trying to acquire these qualifications and manage the spiritual society?
yeah, the person has to create a harmony amongst the environment so that he can reciprocate and give proper training to individuals.
See, you understand what is meant by challenge. Challenge मतलब क्या है?
एक, समझ-
हाँ.
एक तरह से दुविधा जो हमको उसे डील करना है.
नहीं नहीं नहीं, चैलेंज मतलब चुनौती क्या है, तकलीफ क्या है, ये क्वालिफिकेशन को प्राप्त करने के लिए क्या चुनौती है या क्या तकलीफ है, क्या कठिनाई है, वो आपको बताना।
So we can say that एक तरह से we have to create you can say harmony amongst individuals.
Okay, okay, let some other group begin, then you get an idea of what is expected. Or maybe, okay. Wait, before there's simply some speculation going on. So you understood the question, or you didn't understand? Okay, you try.
One of the point is really lack of training.
Lack
Training
of
program.
training. Yes, that's a challenge. Yes. So when there's no training, then it becomes difficult to acquire this qualification. So that's what is called as a challenge, lack of training. Yes. Okay, maybe we can take corresponding solution also. Of course, that's quite simple. Okay, but give some details. Give some details of training program. अरे उनको बोलने दो ना रे.
This classes what we have, seminars, classes. And the Prahlad Maharaj says that this should begin very early, Komara, Acharaprati.
Okay, fine. Solutions, training programs. हाँ, training program बस हो गया. Next. Of course, I didn't ask you reference, but it's okay. हाँ, you find the reference. हाँ, बोलो. For modern day. हाँ, बोलो.
regarding the
पीछे कौन छुप रहा है? क्यों, क्या हो गया भाई?
Lack of interest in sadhana.
Okay, that's okay. Challenge, lack of interest, taste, lack of taste in sadhana. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, all that is included in that. Solution बताना है. All of you are really leaders, ना? All want to. हाँ
Solution separate है इसको ही पढ़ो.
हाँ, उसी के लिए सॉल्यूशन. नहीं तो सिर्फ चैलेंज बोल के छोड़ेंगे तो क्या फायदा.
So taste in sadhana is needed.
हाँ, तो क्या करना है उसके लिए.
Good attending morning programs regularly.
हाँ
Attentive chanting.
हाँ
Ecstasy in
हाँ,
dancing.
correct.
everything.
Okay, so good morning program. Okay, everything will be included in that. Okay, next. Hey, you have a point. You got something. Okay, they're still thinking. And next. Hey, Haribol. That's it.
So there is lack of exemplary leaders in the society.
What's that?
Lack of exemplary leaders who lead by the example.
We can't generalize that.
Okay, lack of like purity.
अब वो हो गया ना, वो साधना, प्योरिटी, वो सब हो गया. Unable to take decisions. I don't think so. Such a problem arises that one is not able to make any decisions. You are in dilemma now.
With some situations comes like whether to approve or not approve. Like
अच्छा ठीक है ठीक है, थोड़ा सोचिए आगे दे दो क्या. नहीं
Sometimes,
ना, आपका पॉइंट क्या आप बताओ.
sometimes decisions become emotional than based on the shastra. ये इनको substitute.
अच्छा पॉइंट क्या है.
Sometimes decisions based on the emotional
हाँ.
platform rather than what shastra says.
Okay, so basically the challenge is making inappropriate decisions. Correct, that's the challenge. Okay, right. Inappropriate decisions.
Shastric study.
Okay. Shastic study and
And group reading.
वो तो उसी में आ गया.
Taking guidance consultation.
That is good. Yeah, Shastic study and guidance. Hmm.
Das to boss.
Servant move to manager
Okay.
mode.
Okay. So basically, a lack of the servant mood, lack of mood of servant. Solution.
Understanding the mood of a service
So how we'll be able
by
to?
rendering menial services.
What is your definition of meaning, sir?
Things are not to be shown on the screen.
Hey, keep don't ever show like projector. Tell all leaders no use of projector.
Services needed to be done. To be done.
How to develop this mood of a servant? How to develop mood of a servant?
Understanding the position of
Ah,
the jiva.
That means what? Proper philosophical understanding. That's the first thing. Yes. Then what else?
Application of
Ah,
pain. Application of that understanding of
okay.
various.
Okay. Sincerely trying to apply Shastric principles. There will be some purification. Then one will realize one's constitutional position. The more one gets purified, the more one will realize the philosophy. Mhm. And and what and one very important factor to develop this mood of serving. Yes. Following the instructions of superior authorities. Sincerely following. So the more one tries to follow, so initially there may be some rebellion, there may not be that mood of a servant, but then as one continues to follow, as one continues to serve, then the appropriate mood will gradually develop. So therefore, one must have faith. Yasya deve parabhakti, yatha devi tatha guru tasya tatha. Okay.
Competitive mentality.
Okay. Having a cooperative mentality is a challenge. Yes, good point. Yes. So the challenge is having a cooperative mentality. Yes, cooperation. I think it's cooperation. Yes.
Mentality.
Oh, you said competitive. Okay, but okay, we are adding one point. Okay. Okay. Uh, yes, lack of cooperation. Yes. The challenge is lack of cooperation. Of course, both are related. Uh, an unhealthy competitive mentality will lead to lack of cooperation. Okay, we'll combine both the points. Lack of cooperation due to unhealthy competition. अरे उनको बोलने दो ना.
Yeah.
See, menial service is a very general term. So what may be menial service for one may not be menial service for another. It's very difficult to generalize what is meant by menial service. And even menial service can make a person proud. It is said, no, even a beggar is proud of his penny. So therefore, exactly what is menial service, that itself need to be defined. हाँ
solution would be here allocating proper service areas to areas accordingly, according to his need, according to requirements, and according to abilities of each individual.
okay, so you're saying that okay, proper allocation of services. Okay, fine, that's one, but that's not the end. So okay, I may have my service. I try to do my service, but then how that will lead to cooperation?
By trying to set up programs, training programs here, which will help them in
Okay, fine. Training programs has already been written. Something else.
services by together with by having a proper togetherness, like programs where you can, like say seva programs, like food is example in some temples where you come together and cook prasadam together. That could be one of the objectives.
So all these come.
Like Prabhupada told, if you love me,
Yes, yes. So uh, being focused on the higher principle of pleasure of Guru and Krishna. Yes, the higher principle of Srila Prabhupada's pleasure, mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. So we focused on that, then that will help. Okay, fine. What's the last thing? But I think so we have already covered that here, right? Huh? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, everyone tell one point. Hmm.
For this challenges,
No, no, now we're going to the last thing. Okay, it's okay, no problem. We'll go to the last one.
Prabhu, practical step is like group reading of Srimad Bhagavatam should happen. So that because in Kali Yuga, like these, in order to develop these qualities, um, in Kali Yuga, Kalau Sattva Haram Pumsam. So Satogun is required, but in Kali Yuga it is not there. So in order to spread that, we need to have group discussions of
Okay,
Srimad
so you write
Bhagavatam
facilitate study of Shastras.
and distribute Bhagavatam.
Yes. So facilitate study of Shastra. Facilitate Shastric study. Okay. Okay, next.
devotee care,
Okay, that is as big as the sky.
practical steps of like
Okay, fine. We will take that devotee care. Okay, fine. So you can tell at least 2, 3 important points on the devotee care.
aspects like other individual. There are many aspects of an individual. Say there is spiritual needs, emotional needs, physical needs. So
Okay, fine. So all
aspects.
those. Okay, fine. You have something?
Should be like uh, the management should be done as per the desire of opinion, following authorities. GBC, Prabhupada desire to mood में.
Okay. Okay. So how is that to be practically done?
Regularly they can go through with the letters, Prabhupada books, or discussions, conversations where Prabhupada has taken steps in that relevant case. That should be considered before taking any decision.
Okay. Okay. Following following the example of our acharyas. Following the example. Huh.
Colleges, yeah, one should set up like farm communities and devotees should come and serve their cows.
Of course, that's one aspect. That's one aspect of the society. But how will that help in the overall management?
So automatically that simplicity will come, the Satogun will come,
Oh,
the competitive mentality.
well, okay. Training programs have written, right? Okay, fine. Okay, first the study of shastras. उसी में देखो training programs. You have something else?
Following Vaishnava etiquettes.
So how it's going to happen?
Everyone is following Vaishnava etiquette.
How? ठीक है, वो कैसे होगा? सबको पता है वैष्णव एटिकेट, सबको पता है, लेकिन फॉलो कैसे करें?
Training.
हाँ, ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स. Okay, fine. Okay, enough points. Somebody wants to add some points? हाँ बोल.
There will be some burnouts in the
Uh-huh.
society, means those who have bad experiences,
Uh-huh.
handling them very carefully so that they will not create miscreants in the society, anti-preaching. They should not spread some ill names of our leaders who are managing our society. So we have to take care of them also, so that handling them very nicely with some spiritual care, giving spiritual care, and addressing their concerns. So some forum should be there.
Okay, fine. Addressing concerns of devotees. Okay, fine. Actually, Prabhupada does talk about Ishta Goshti. Yes, so addressing concerns of the devotees. So appropriate forums for addressing this concern should be there. Yes. Okay, fine. So, okay, thank you, Prabhu. You can sit. So what I thought of reading was some of Srila Prabhupada's letters on the topic, and this we are reading from the Shikshamrit. So just a few important points I thought of reading. You want to see it on the screen or?
Little rougher means so that I can be purified little bit.
Example?
I don't like to do one service, but extending myself to do that service.
Okay, fine. I mean, as a general point, your point is correct. So trying to do services which we may not be very comfortable with, or which is like an austerity. Yes. So that's a good general definition of menial services. So and that could vary from person to person. And so yes. So but your point is correct that trying to do so rather than always trying to do services which I'm expert at and which I can do very well, but then also trying to do some other services which I may not be so good at. So then yes. So then automatically one is a little bit humbled uh, because one is not very expert in doing that. So by trying to do that, one could be humbled. And yes, so that's a good point. Yes. Mm. 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 So whatever is needed. Mm. Yeah, or whatever. It may not be the service I'm usually used to do, but if there's a need, then I'm ready to do. ये सर पोजीशन ये थोड़ा बाहर जा रहा है ना, but now it's very quite small, no? सबको दिखा दे इसका फॉर्म. ये स्टैंड बीच में आ रहा है. ठीक है. So we'll just read some of these few quotes. So here, okay, somebody can read.
Preaching is our real business. Preaching and distributing books. If your preaching work is strong, then your management of temple affairs will also become automatically very strong. Just like if the head will speak, the hand will move. Preaching is like the head of a Krishna consciousness society. If the head is removed and the whole body dies, managing is the hands. It's work nicely if the hand is healthy. Head is healthy. If the hands are removed, the body will not die, but it will be crippled. So preaching is more important than management, but both must be there if the whole body is to operate nicely.
Yes. So Srila Prabhupada, as we will see some more quotes also, definitely put a great emphasis on preaching, and as he says in this previous one, yes, preaching is more important than managing. Just because you are preaching nicely and distributing so much prasadam, the management will follow like a shadow, and Krishna will send you no end of help. Mhm. So this is always the emphasis which Srila Prabhupada gave. Srila Prabhupada gave emphasis on preaching. Mhm. So whatever form of preaching, but the main purpose of the society is to preach, right? Following Mahaprabhu's instruction, Yare Deko Tare Kaho, Krishna Pradesh Amara. So that's our main business. So the management is to facilitate that preaching. The substance is preaching, and the management is to facilitate that. So if the preaching work is there, according to the instructions of Mahaprabhu and the acharyas, then the management will follow like shadow. So this is what Srila Prabhupada emphasized, and you'll find this Srila Prabhupada emphasizing that and repeating that in many of his letters, and so that point should always be taken into consideration. Not that we have a big setup and everyone is involved in management and there's no preaching taking place. So then the very purpose of the society will be lost. Okay. Okay, read this.
I am very glad to hear that a new devotee has given six, 600, six, $6,500 to your temple. A similar report has just come from Hamsaduta in Hamburg, Germany. So it is very good sign that people are coming and of their own accords giving everything. That is the proof of your powerful preaching work. If we simply remain pure and become very convinced of this Krishna philosophy, and sane man will agree with us when we speak. And if we are determined to please Krishna with our routine work, despite of all kinds of economic handicaps, he will provide all relief. Just see, if preaching is strong, management will be strong. That is the rule.
So you see, Prabhupada is repeating that point. So, and here is adding some other points. If we simply remain pure, become very convinced of this Krishna conscious philosophy, then, so if we ourselves are convinced, then we'll be able to convince others also. Then any sane man will agree when we speak. And then if we are determined to please Krishna, that is the central point. If we are determined to please Krishna with our routine work, despite all kinds of economic handicaps, he will provide all relief. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, what? That is one. Yes, yoga kshemam vahami aham. But then terms and conditions applied. What is? Yes, ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam. Then yoga kshemam vahami. So that has to be followed, and that is what Srila Prabhupada is writing. So that involves the purity, pleasing Krishna. That is ananyas chintayanto mam. then everything else will follow. Then the money will come, the management will take place. We have to do our part, no doubt, but we should know where to put the emphasis. That's what is important. Where should be the priorities? Where should be the emphasis? Uh, in his case, Vaisheshika Prabhu tells an incident of once uh, it was a little bit urgent, and so he was planning to have a management meeting in that particular temple during the Srimad Bhagavatam class. I think so I told this before. And one of the persons who was supposed to be in that meeting was his owner Jayadvaita Maharaj. So as soon as Jayadvaita Maharaj heard that, I don't remember exactly what he said, but I'm paraphrasing, something to the effect that he said, "Why can't we wait for 1 hour more? Why can't we wait?" So we should know where our priorities and emphasis lie. That should be clear. Mm. Not that we compromise with the what is supposed to be priority, we compromise with that and make something else the priority. Then things won't work. We can break our heads, but nothing will move because Krishna is not pleased. We should remember these points. Okay, so let's get some. Read this.
Simply become more concerned with increasing the spiritual content of our lives. And in this way, all other problems like management will be easily solved. Not that they can be solved by making some legal formula and having big meeting and talks. The politicians have been holding such meeting and talks for some time now, and the world is no bad place for it. And they have only made things worse. We should not follow their example.
So not simply all the time meetings and talks and this and that, but nothing for increasing spiritual content of our lives. That should be the emphasis. How to increase spiritual content of our lives. This should be the emphasis. And in this way, all of the problems like management will be easily solved. Mm.
So for your concern about management, the solution is to be always thinking of Krishna and the spiritual master. Then Maya cannot touch you. If you very strictly follow the regulative principles and chant 16 rounds minimum, there is no question of ever falling down. Krishna has given you very nice facility there. So you continue to serve him with great faith and enthusiasm, and he will give you all blessings.
So you see again where the focus is? Yes, remembering Krishna, spiritual master, following their instructions. That is the emphasis. Mm.
I have no objection to any of the points mentioned there in by you. Only thing is, we must try to avoid becoming too much overly organized like material businessmen. Our business is to ourselves become Krishna conscious, advance in spiritual life, and to preach to others how they can also take advantage and come to the perfectional stage of life. Too much business or paperwork, voucher, plans, these things become too much cumbersome for our spiritual growth. They take us away from our real emphasis of work, namely to go back to Godhead. But I think your plan is not like that. So far I can see. It is practical and to the point. But now you must do it very nicely and completely. Not that we make some plan, changes things, then do not complete it, and again change this way, that way. No. There was
Okay, so then he's talking about some details. So, but anyways, again here you see the main emphasis is our business is to ourselves become Krishna conscious, advance in spiritual life, and to preach to. So this is the emphasis. And all others, yes, whatever has to be done is to be done. But then we should know where the emphasis lies. Okay. Okay, this is a good one regarding cooperation. And yesterday also something like this came up. So okay,
Your question about traveling Sankirtan parties in other zones, I have answered several times before. So you may see the letters to Dhananjaya in London and others. The thing is, our main business is to distribute books, either here or there, it doesn't matter. So if there is transcendental competition for increasing sale of books, that is good. If he buys one book, his life may be turned. That is the best preaching work. But everything must be done in a spirit of cooperation, without any irritation. If one party wants to travel into another zone, that's alright. But there must be prior agreement between the GBC men and mutual consent. If by going there, the book sales will be increased, what is the alarm? But
Prabhupada is saying, if by going to that other zone, if book sales will be increased, what is the alarm?
but supposing if there is any harm that is to be judged by the local president, and if he has good reason to think that another party will be unfavorable to his temple's cooperation, then he may temple's operation, then he may order them to leave. That's all. So, local temple offers should be the local temple officers should be the final judge to allow or disallow anyone from outside to sell books there. And if some outside party comes, that they must sell books only, no collecting without selling books.
That means no fund collection, only sell books.
They must live in the local temple and not separately, and they must follow faithfully the instructions and directions of the local president. They can purchase books from the temple at a regular wholesale price and sell. And temple
Whatever profit,
whatever profit there is above wholesale price, they must give at least 50% to the local temple out of goodwill. That will be nice. So we shall not think that this is my job, that is his job. Just like the Indian and Pakistan nation are thinking, and then there is a war. No, Lord Chaitanya has given us the task to spread his message all over the world, and any process which may be useful for facilitating this business, that we shall gladly adopt. Never mind his zone or my zone, that is material designation. But we shall always do everything in cooperative spirit and avoid any fighting amongst us. That is Vaishnava attitude, because Lord Chaitanya has advised us to always offer all respects to others, especially to the devotees of the Lord.
okay, so you see how Srila Prabhupada very nicely is balancing everything. So, on one hand, Srila Prabhupada is saying, what is the problem? This my zone, his zone. Oh, what's the problem? So, if preaching is going to expand, then it's fine. So, on one hand, Srila Prabhupada says that, but at the same time, Srila Prabhupada also puts it in a practical way, and that is how there must be cooperation, how permission must be there. Without permission, one must not go. So, Srila Prabhupada puts that also. So, Srila Prabhupada is nicely balancing everything, and that's how Srila Prabhupada wanted us to cooperate. So therefore, what is the spirit of cooperation? What is the mood? What is the mood of cooperation here? What is the most important thing? Why the cooperation should be there? Yes, the essence is preaching. How preaching can increase. That is the main focus. That is the main focus. Not simply having material designations. This is my zone. This is your zone. Therefore, you cannot come here. That's totally material. Prabhupada is saying that. That's totally material. But again, Srila Prabhupada says, if there is good reason why they don't want to allow the other party to come, then it's fine. If there is some valid reason, it is fine. But if there's no valid reason, then why? My zone, your zone. So you can see such a brilliant letter Prabhupada is writing. He's balancing everything. Hmm. He is balancing the spiritual aspect, managerial aspect. Everything is beautifully covered. You can see Srila Prabhupada's expertise. Only thing is we need to follow. That's all. So, in any case, we are showing you all these things because at least we know something like this exists. Others, most people don't even bother to read these things. Forget about knowing them. Most people don't even bother to read. How many of you have read these things before? So, so they have taken all the trouble to compile the Shikshamrit, all the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, topic-wise. If there's any doubt, one should go back to this and see what Srila Prabhupada has said on different topics, different practical issues. That is, as we saw, one of the points. Always taking guidance, Shastra. This is the meaning of taking guidance. Take guidance from the Acharya, what he has said. How many are reading? That is the biggest problem. Biggest problem is nobody even wants to read. Most people, in fact, I'm sure, don't even know that something like this exists. Most devotees don't know. Forget about reading. But you see how much Prabhupada has given. Everything Prabhupada has given. How to deal with all practical situations Prabhupada has given. We only need to read them with an open mind and a cool head and sincerely try to apply these instructions that Srila Prabhupada has given. So that's why we're reading them so that you also can spread these things to other devotees.
Is there any law like that 50% of profit should be going to the local temple?
Well, at least I don't know.
Because
So in any case, those are details. The spirit should be understood. So here one important sentence Prabhupada is writing. So utilize every opportunity that Krishna gives you for preaching his message. That is real meaning of temple management. The management is meant for preaching. Huh? Hmm. Well, whatever. I mean, yes, of course. I mean, the main reference is Bhagavatam. That is correct. But this is Bhagavatam and practical action. What Srila Prabhupada has given is Bhagavatam principles in practical action. So therefore we are reading this. And of course, it's coming from the Acharya. Okay, read this. You have the mic, you read.
If anyone strictly follows the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness, then he will always remain enthusiastic and dynamic. So, if there are any defects within our society, it is only the symptom that the instructions of spiritual masters are being neglected. Follow my instructions strictly and always think for giving this gift of Krishna consciousness wherever you go, to whomever you meet. This is the advice of Lord Chaitanya.
Okay? If there are any defects within our society, it is only the symptom that the instructions of the spiritual master are being neglected. Um, okay, read this. First.
Regarding incorporation of our ISKCON centers, we want to run all our centers as non-profit religious organizations. That is the main point. Keeping this point in view, too much official control is not good in spiritual life. The center should remain spiritually fit and independent. Some control must be there as is now. Too much control means so many vouchers. Gradually, it will become a mundane institution. All our managers should be spiritually advanced.
Yes, read that. All our managers should be Spiritually advanced. All our managers should be spiritually advanced. That's most important.
All our managers should be spiritually advanced, and
No,
on
that's a new sentence.
simply and honest
Okay, sorry. That's the same thing. All our managers should be spiritually advanced simply. Okay, and
and
on.
honest in
Mm.
carrying out the orders of the spiritual
Mm.
master and Krishna. That will be a nice standard. Democracy in spiritual affairs is not at all good, but breeds power politics. We should be careful about power politics. Our only aim should be that each and every devotee is full dedicated to Krishna. Then things will go nicely.
Yes. So you can see where's the focus? Spiritually advanced. The manager should be spiritually advanced, honest in carrying out the orders of spiritual master and Krishna. Then everything will.
Just to understand in a better sense, the spiritually advanced.
Mm.
So, what is that broad understanding, or in what broad sense?
Yes, spiritually advanced means one must be firmly rooted in the philosophical understanding and also in spiritual practices, right? So, what are the if you want to point out exactly what are the symptoms of one who's spiritually advanced, then we have the symptoms of one on the Bhava platform, right? Those nine symptoms. We may not be exactly on that platform, but then at least trying to come up to that standard. Those are the symptoms of spiritual advancement.
Uh, Praji, when it sees in the practical ground of day-to-day life and
Mm.
management things,
Mm.
how we look into that?
So simple thing. That's why Prabhupada is in fact clarifying here itself. Honest in carrying out orders of spiritual master and Krishna. That is one who is spiritually advanced. One who is spiritually advanced will honestly try to carry out instructions of Guru and Krishna. So, so if one is sincerely trying to follow the instructions, and as we know, for us, the primary instructions that Srila Prabhupada gave all of us as we've been reading is the morning program, chanting 16 rounds, attending Bhagavatam class. So these are some simple instructions which Srila Prabhupada wanted everyone to follow. And also trying to develop the various Vaishnava qualities and then following. What's the point?
But it's like morning program and thing. Okay,
No, it's not okay.
okay. In sense like that is if we calculate
If that is not there, there is no question of spiritual advancement.
if morning program there, but rest the qualities are not there. Is it like spiritual advance?
So we are not saying all that's one important aspect because that will lead to purification. When purification takes, how does one become spiritually advanced? By purification, right? The reason why one is not spiritually advanced is because of material contamination. How will the material contamination go away? By spiritual practices. So first of all, spiritual practices have to be strong. Then purification will take place. Then material contamination will go away. Then spiritual advancement will take place. It is the science. Okay? And so, at least if this is there, if the spiritual program is properly followed, then as we often discuss, among the 26 qualities of Vaishnav, which is most important? Yes, Krishna Eka Sharanam. That is the primary quality, Swarup Lakshan. Then all the other 25 qualities will eventually develop. So therefore, the main focus is surrendering to Krishna. That means surrendering to the representative of Krishna and his instructions. So that has to be the main focus. When that is the main focus, of course, one also has to try, endeavor to develop all the other qualities. That endeavor must definitely be there. Okay. And therefore, we see in all these letters, Srila Prabhupada's main focus is always where? The spiritual practices and the preaching. And preaching is, of course, a spiritual practice because preaching is also kirtan. So that is also a spiritual practice. So this is the main focus. You can see in all these letters that we have read. That is the main focus. Mhm. Ah,
Management or vouchers, etc. Could you give some examples?
Well, we don't want to get into too many details, but the basic point is Srila Prabhupada's emphasis was always on make management simple. That's the principle. And don't make it too complicated and too much of, as he says over here, what? Yes. So, too much control and yes, so many vouchers, they become mundane institutions. So basically, his point is the management should be simple, not too complicated. That is, well, difficult to say exactly right now. But then understand the principle. Understand the principle. Mm. Yeah, something like that. Mm. Mm. Oh, now it's not needed. Mm. Yes, so everything goes together. Everything goes together. So, Shil Prabhupada is not talking about sustenance. Okay, read this.
You must work hard to absolve the debts you have masked, so we will not lose our standing there. You must work hard to absolve the debts you have masked.
So he's talking about
So,
debts which the temple has taken or he has taken or whoever. So he's saying, yes, you must work hard so that you can pay off those debts. Hmm.
so we will not lose our standing there. If everyone is strictly chanting at least 16 rounds daily and reading the books and observing the regulative principles, then management will be at our fingers end, and there will be no difficulty in maintaining Krishna consciousness.
Right. You see the focus again, the same focus. The focus is on the spiritual program. Hmm. If that goes on well, management will be at fingertips because Krishna will give intelligence. We were discussing this point yesterday also. Hmm. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. And if Krishna wants to humble someone, how much ever expert manager one may be, if Krishna wants to humble, how much time it will take? We gave you some examples, right? So one may be very expert, but if one has not pleased Krishna, within a moment Krishna will show how expert one is. Hmm. So therefore, the main focus you can see again and again, you can see it. The main focus is on the spiritual practices. And this is precisely what happened after Srila Prabhupada left the planet. After Srila Prabhupada left the planet, if you go into some ISKCON history, you can read. And better not to go into too many details also. But then, this is precisely what happens. The focus on the spiritual practices and preaching drastically reduced, and what increased was on somehow trying to get the money and somehow trying to manage. The whole spiritual practices and preaching went in the background. Result was everything collapsed. The top leaders, GBCs, sannyasis, so many left the movement. And when they left, so many of their followers left. It was such a chaos that took place. Why? Only reason was the Acharya's instructions were neglected. And therefore, Prabhupada keeps repeating again and again, this is what? Science. That's the meaning of science. If you follow it, we'll get the good results. Don't follow it, then we'll have to face the consequences. That is the meaning of science. And that will happen anytime. It happened that time, it can happen now also, it can happen in the future also, anytime. Some adjustments according to time, place, circumstances are allowed. But the essential principles which the Acharya has laid down, that needs to be always followed. Interesting, Prabhupada has written a letter to TTD, Tirupati Tirumala Devasthana. after Srila Prabhupada's visit there. And Srila Prabhupada is requesting them. He says the special access we were given for darshan before Balaji is something we will always remember favorably. And for my American and European followers, it was a rarely given privilege for which they are fully appreciative. We all left Tirupati feeling very much inspired by the darshan, by your excellent management, and we hope to return when we are able again. If there's any land available, either for purchase or donation, we would be interested in constructing a cottage for the exclusive use of members of a society when they make pilgrimage to Tirupati. Please advise us in the availability of such land. Again, thanking you for your excellent support. And of course, they did give that land. So that land which the current Tirupati temple has, that was given by TTP. I don't know the exact details, but maybe partly donation, partly purchase. Read this.
Regarding the art of management, constant changing is not good. Even if there is some fault in management, it should be corrected, not changed. Besides that, Vaishnava philosophy is that everyone is addressed as Prabhu or Master. Everyone should consider himself the servant of the other. That will make management very nice.
Somebody said, no, one of the poems, Das Anudas. Okay. Okay, so I think so. These are the few points. Here Prabhupada is saying, why is there politics? Why is there this politics? This is not good. If politics come, then preaching will be stopped. That is the difficulty. As soon as politics come, everything is spoiled. And the Gaudiya Mutt, the politics is still going on. My Guru Maharaj left in 1936 and now it is 1976. So after 40 years, the litigation is still going on. Do not come to this. Okay, fine. So there are so many instructions and advice Srila Prabhupada has given. So you can read them. Okay. Okay, fine. Let's come back to our second chapter. Okay, let's read a few verses about Maharaj Agnita. Somebody begin to read the next translation.
Desiring to get a perfect son and become an inhabitant of Pitralok, Maharaj Agnidhar once worshipped Lord Brahma, the master of those in charge of material creation. He went to a valley of Mandar hill where the damsels of the heavenly planets come down to scroll. There he collected garden flowers and other necessary paraphernalia and then engaged in severe austerities and worship.
आप क्यों हंस रहे हैं? Okay, so now the important question is this Maharaj Agnidra is son of Priyavrat, who was such an exalted devotee. He was Mahabhagavat. And how is this person desiring to get a son, become inhabitant of Pitraloka? How he's got all these material desires? and for that he's worshipping Lord Brahma. So, Srila Prabhupada is giving the reason in the second paragraph of the purport. Since Maharaj Agnidhra was the son of a Vaishnav, he should have desired to be transferred to spiritual world, Vaikuntha Loka. Why then did he desire to be transferred to Pitraloka? In answer to this, Goswami Giridhar, one of the Bhagavatam commentators, remarks that Agnidhra was born when Maharaj Priyavrat was infatuated by lusty desires. So, we read that yesterday. At a certain point of time, Maharaj Priyavrat, he got too much carried away in his material life and sense gratification. So maybe this Agnidhra was born at that time when he was too much affected by lusty desires. And this may be accepted as a fact because sons are begotten with different mentalities according to the time of their conception. And then Prabhupada speaks of the Garbhodan Sanskar. And then further down he says, of course, although Maharaj Agnidhra had a desire to be transferred to Pitraloka, this does not mean that his mentality was that of a Shudra, he was a Kshatriya. And so Maharaj Agnidhra desired to be transferred to Pitraloka and therefore he needed a wife because anyone desiring to be transferred to Pitraloka must leave behind a good son to offer yearly pinda or prasad from Lord Vishnu. So to have a good son, Maharaj Agnidhra wanted a wife from a family of demigods. Therefore he went to Mandara Hill where the women of the demigods generally come to worship Lord Brahma. Okay, read next.
Understanding King Agnidhara's desire, the first and most powerful created being of this universe, Lord Brahma, selected the best of the dancing girls in his assembly, whose name was Purvachitti, and sent her to the king.
So Brahma understood the desire of Agnidhra and so therefore he sent this Purvachitti. So, so therefore, here Brahma is being addressed as Bhagavan. Tad Upalabdhya Bhagavan Adi Purusha. So, why is being addressed as Bhagavan? Prabhupada writes in the purport. The reason he is called Bhagavan is that he fully represents the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is the firstborn creature in this universe. Therefore, we saw in the previous chapter also. Therefore, Brahma perfectly understood the desire of the Supreme Lord and therefore he was telling Priyavrat Maharaj to rule the kingdom. So yes, so therefore he is called Bhagavan. Lord Brahma could understand Maharaj Agnidra's desire because he is as powerful as Lord Vishnu. As Lord Vishnu situated as Paramatma can understand the desire of the living entity, so Lord Brahma can also understand the living entity's desire for Vishnu as a via medium informs him. So the Paramatma informs Brahma and that's how Brahma gets all the knowledge. This is also applicable for yes, is applicable for spiritual master also and is also applicable for Yamaraj. This will come in the sixth canto. So Yamaraj also, how he knows the karma of all the living entities, the Paramatma informs him. So that's how he knows. Otherwise, how will he know? So ultimate is only the Paramatma who knows, but he gives knowledge to Yamaraj. Okay. So that's how Brahmaji understood the desire of Agnidhra and therefore he sent this Apsara. Next.
The Lord Brahma began strolling in a beautiful park near the place where the king was meditating and worshipping. The park was beautiful because of its dense green foliage and golden creepers. There were pairs of varied birds such as peacocks, and in a lake there were ducks and swans, all vibrating very sweet sounds. Thus the park was magnificently beautiful because of the foliage, the clear water, the lotus flowers, and the sweet singing of various kinds of birds.
Okay, one more.
As Purvachitti passed by on the road in a very beautiful style and mood of her own, the pleasing ornaments on her ankles tinkled with her every step. Although Prince Agnidhara was controlling his senses, practicing yoga with half-open eyes, he could see her with his lotus-like eyes, and when he heard the sweet tinkling of her bangles, he opened his eyes slightly more and could see that she was just nearby.
Okay. So a disadvantage of meditating with half open eyes. Hmm. Prabhupada writes about that. Hmm. So we know in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the Ashtanga yogi must meditate with half open eyes. And Prabhupada writes, if the eyes are closed completely, there'll be tendency to sleep. So-called yogis sometimes practice fashionable form of yoga by closing their eyes and meditating, but we have actually seen, Prabhupada says in lecture also, we've actually seen the so-called yogis sleeping and snoring while meditating. This is not the practice of yoga. To actually practice yoga, one should keep his eyes half open and gaze at the tip of the nose. But the half open eyes also is a problem. So then he got disturbed by this Purva Chitta. And of course, the ears are also there. And Prabhupada gives the solution for this, quoting Prabhupada Saraswati, Durudantendriya Kala Sarpapatali Protkakadam Strati. When one engages in devotional service, however, completely employing all the activities of the senses in the service of the Lord, the venomous quality of the senses is completely nullified. It is explained that a serpent is to be feared because of its poison fangs, but if those fangs are broken, the serpent, although it seems fearsome, is not at all dangerous. Devotees therefore may see hundreds of thousands of beautiful women with fascinating bodily movements and gestures, but not be allured. Whereas such women could make ordinary yogis fall. Of course, not ordinary yogis. Then he says even advanced yogis, like Vishwamitra. He also fell down. Hmm. So, but a devotee can see hundreds and thousands of them. That was Srila Prabhupada. So when Srila Prabhupada went to Paris, so Paris is known for very beautiful women. And so there was one big hall where he was invited to give a talk. As soon as Srila Prabhupada entered the hall, all around there were photos of beautiful women. And immediately all the sannyasis and brahmacharis, they covered their heads and put their heads down. But for Srila Prabhupada, it made no difference. He was just looking into it. Can't imitate. Okay, fine. So we'll continue in the next class at 2 o'clock. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthram Shmata. Okay, so Advait Karuna Prabhupada. October, Anuttam Krishna.